Hi everybody, it's Alyce-Kay Ruckelshaus from Threshold of Hineni, and I know it's been a while since I've done a tutorial. I'm really sorry. I've been, first of all, seeing my parents off the last couple weeks that they were here. We were working very, very hard, and then I've just been grieving. You know, what can I say? My husband was killed 3 months ago, and I'm still having a rough time of it. So anyway, I want to do some stuff with some ephemera items from a kit by Melody Huey at MelodiMade. And this is the ephemera page. There are a whole bunch of other pages and I haven't printed them, but I'm just going to work with this today. I'm not even going to work with all of these. I want to make a cute little, I think it'll be cute anyway, a cute little packet for keeping some needles and thread in it, and more for decoration than anything else. It'll be part of a journal, but and I may use the needles, may not, but I just think that it'll be really pretty in this little packet. It'll be a nice thing to have inside. So what I'm going to do first, I'm not going to use my paper cutter. I'm just going to go ahead and cut this. Oh, I wanted to explain. Okay, so this is one of the ephemera sheets, okay? It's the main one. And what I did was I took this right here and this, and I cropped them so that they were the only thing on Google Docs, and then I blew them up to this size so that I could have the size that I wanted, okay? And so that's the only reason that I have this out. I don't really need that. It was just to show you what the page looks like. So I'm going to use these two pieces to make kind of a little wallet for needles and some thread. And I'm actually going to use some of my husband's yarn rather than thread, but it's not thick yarn. You'll see it's kind of like thread. It's like heavy thread, because when he knitted, he would put 6 to 10 strands of it together, or what he called ends together, to form his yarn that he knit with. Okay, so it's kind of a little bit in honor of him too. Pretty much anything that I do with junk journals, I think of him, because he loved that I did these. He loved the journals themselves, and he loved how he saw me feeling really good whenever I worked on him and everything. And so yeah, so that's why I've started up a shop in his honor called the Widow Ruckelshaus, where I sell my my journals and some supplies and stuff. Okay, so we have these here, and we're going to just round the corners really quickly. I'm using the We Are Memory Keepers envelope punch, and I'm using the part that used for rounding the corners of that. I'm just using that to round the corners on this. There's really no need to get a dedicated corner rounder when you can use something on another tool. I also have the Works by Memory Keepers, which also has a corner punch on it. It's a little bit bigger, and so since I'm just punching corners right now, I didn't really feel like getting that out. But I can link both of them below and you can look and see. I have always said that if I had it to do over again, this would be the first tool that I would get as a junk journalist, because you can do so much with it, not just make envelopes. But now that they've come out with the Works, that would run a close second, but it's a lot more expensive. So this is just, I think right now it's like $6.99 or something. I think I saw it for $6.99 on Amazon. When I got it, it was $9.99, which is, I think, really good for what all you get. So anyway, okay, so this is going to be the outside right here. I love this. Sewing Soothes the Soul. And I chose that because, like I said, my husband liked the way that doing junk journals and stuff made me feel. He liked seeing me, you know, that calm and everything. Oops. Okay, so this is actually a little bit bigger, so let's cut off some of that. One that's underneath is slightly bigger, and we want them to be the same size. So I guess I didn't get the measurements quite right when I was blowing them up on Google Docs. Okay, so it's pretty easy to blow them up. And if you want me to make a video of how to crop and resize things on Google Docs, just let me know in the comments below, because I would be happy to do that. I'm just kind of assuming that people know how. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do before we sew it together, because what we're going to do is we're going to sew it like this. Okay, so it comes up like this. So it says sewing soothes the soul at the top. But before I do that, I want to put some fabric, either fabric or lace, on the bottom, and I haven't quite decided which yet. That's kind of dark. I think I'm going to go with the lace. Yeah, I'm going to go with the lace. Okay, so I'm just using, and this lace, you know, it's got a definite center to it. I'm going to cut down the center and just use half of it. There's no need to use all that. I've kind of vaguely planned this out, but I like to, when I do tutorials and stuff, I kind of prefer to have you guys in on my figuring out how to do it, because that way you can see what my thought process is, you can see the mistakes that I make and why they don't work, so that you don't make the same mistakes. Okay, so we're gonna cut this right here. And then just to make it easier, I am gonna go ahead and sew this onto one of the layers. Let's see, I don't need that. I'm going to sew it onto one of the layers, and then we'll sew the whole thing together. Okay, now I've got this so that this side is up this way, but when you flip it over, this side is up this way. That's the way that I want it. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I'd rather have the double stitching on this side. So I'm going to stitch it here. It's to the top of this piece. And it's okay that it hangs out a little bit. I can cut that. I just want to make sure that I have enough. And I'm going to go ahead and put it into zigzag. People are different on what they prefer as far as stitches. And you could glue this. You don't have to sew it. I love to sew, and especially since this is about sewing, it only makes sense to sew it. But you could, if you want to, you could just glue it. Okay, so now we're going to sew these two pieces together, and oops, I need to turn it this way. Okay, so we want to make sure that when we turn it around, this is upside down. Okay? All right, and I'm going to go ahead and just glue this together just a little bit to kind of baste it together so that it doesn't slip. And I'm waiting to distress the edges until I've got it all together. Okay, so I don't need a lot of glue in there. It's just to hold it together so it doesn't slip while I'm sewing it. The sewing is what's actually going to hold it. Okay, so I want to make sure that that's right. Put these together. I want to get all the edges exactly even. Check over on this side. Oops, that looks a little not quite right. I went to Hobby Lobby for the first time last week. Can you believe it? Okay, that still is sticking out just slightly, and it's not over on this edge. So I'm going to trim this just a bit just to get it right there. I mean, I can also, when I ink it, that would take care of any white that's sticking out also, but okay, and then also before I sew it, I want to use my little punch here just to give some hearts, yeah, to this upper edge, not the side that has the lace on it, but just this one here. Just put little tiny hearts in the corners because I just think it's fun. This is one of the things I got at Hobby Lobby. I love it. Okay, so I've got little hearts in the corner there, you can see. Okay, so this is going to be the outside where it says sewing soothes the soul. And I want this part to come up most of the way so that sewing soothes the soul will just be like that. Okay? All right, but I'm not going to fold it yet. I want to sew it together first. I am going to sew it so that I've got the outside on top so I can see what's happening with it. And I'm zigzagging. I've got it glued together so that it doesn't slip. But again, you can always trim it. And remember, with junk journaling, we're not really trying to get it all perfect. You know, it's a shabby chic look. And so you want things to be a little messy. I always leave my threads hanging. Okay. And I don't sit and stop it and pivot it perfectly if I can help it. Sometimes I have to, but if I can help it, I don't. Okay, so now we're ready to fold it. So that's all that we've done so far is we've just cut the two pieces. We've got them back to back so that the inside is upside down to the front. We've got the lace in between, and we've zigzagged around the outside. And again, you could glue that if you wanted to. Okay, so I want to figure out exactly how I want this to fold. And it's going to be like this. Okay, so then I can go ahead and crease it. Okay. Make sure your sides are lined up. This is so easy, you guys. It's really easy. Okay, now if we wanted to make this into kind of an envelope, like a pocket type of thing, we could. We could just have our thread up here and we could make this a pocket to keep things in, and then we could sew it here. And if I was going to do that, I would have folded it before sewing around the edges, and I would have sewn that there and then sewn down here. But what I want is to be able to open this up. Okay, and you're going to see why in a moment. Okay, so I want to, I think actually, I hadn't planned this, so I may not have what I need on hand. Let's see. You know what? Yeah, I can use some of this. I think I'm going to do something a little different than I was planning. I think I'm going to put a piece of paper right in here that can be journaled on. Okay, I wasn't planning that, but let's do that. In fact, let's just tear it. Okay, so I'm going to tear a piece that I can just put in the center there. Oh, or you know what? Oh, I might do this. I saw something really cute on a video this morning, and I think I might do that. She had torn pieces of paper like this and had made it into kind of like a little pad of paper in the middle of something kind of like this. Not really quite like this, but sort of. So I think I'm going to do that. I really liked that. So this is a little bit too wide here, because that way it'll be like a little pad of paper. Okay, and all the pieces will be torn differently. So I'm going to, you know what, I think I'm going to use my ruler to tear some of these so they're not quite as jagged. It's okay that it's jagged, but it just takes a long time. If I was just doing this on my own and not doing it for a video, I think I would still go ahead and just tear them really jagged. But I don't want you guys to have to watch me do that. So I'm going to sort of kind of tear it with the ruler and sort of kind of tear it freehand. There we go. Okay, I'm going to tear off my little edges there because I don't want any white. See, and see how these are different. They're not the same as this one. Okay, and they're different sizes. So I'm going to tear this here too. Okay, so I've got 3 pieces. Let's go ahead and tear a few more here as well. Those are about the right width, huh? I love tearing paper. I don't know why. I just really love it. Okay, now when you're tearing, to get this kind of white stuff here that you'd be from the bottom of the paper that you can distress really nicely, whichever side is on the, you know how I'm pulling this towards me, whichever side is going away from me is going to end up with that white. Okay, and we'll make these ones a little bit thinner. Okay, so let's go ahead and distress these really quickly. And we should probably just go ahead and distress our whole card thing at the same time. I like distressing things. It's very relaxing. And just so that you know, what I'm using right now is Vintage Photo by Tim Holtz Distressing Ink. I'll link it below. I'll try to remember to link everything that I use below, other than my husband's yarns, which I don't know, eventually I might try to find some way of putting some of those into my shop. I don't think anybody's going to want an entire cone of them. I mean, they're like this big. It'd take you 500 years to use all that for junk journaling. But he had wanted me to start putting it in my shop for people, and we hadn't really quite figured out exactly how to do that yet. So see how that just really nicely picks up the distressing ink? Really cool. So while my parents were here, we did a lot of stuff. Some of you know that I have Lyme, and so I have mobility issues, which, you know, was fine when Bill was alive because he did the stuff that I couldn't do, like he did the shopping and stuff. And also, a year and a half ago, we had moved all of our stuff up to our house in the mountains because we had sold this house that I'm in right now, and we were moving up there. But then at the last minute, the deal fell through, and you know, it takes a lot of money to move your stuff an hour away. So we didn't want to move it all back because we were still planning to move up there. So everything's up there, like the washer, dryer, everything. Well, obviously, I didn't want to live up in the mountains all by myself without him. And so I decided I wasn't going to sell this house, and I'm just going to stay here. I'm still going to keep the house up there and hopefully eventually use it for retreats and stuff. But, you know, I was going to move our good bed because we had been sleeping on a really lumpy bed that had springs that dug into your ribs and stuff, and our refrigerator because we had been using a dorm refrigerator for a year and a half, and, you know, other furniture. I was going to move down here, and my dad, smart man that he is, said, you know, you could spend $3,500 to move that stuff back down here, or you could spend a lot less than that and just buy new stuff. Not new, but, you know, from like the thrift store and stuff, which I don't mind getting stuff from the thrift store. I kind of like it. I'm kind of a shabby chic girl, so that works out fine. I did buy a new refrigerator and a new washer and dryer, but those aren't very expensive. And anyway, so yeah, so we got the laundry room moved up from the basement to the main floor into one of the bedrooms, which has been a lifesaver, seriously, because I don't know how I would have carried laundry down and up the stairs. They're really steep stairs, and there's no landing, so when you open up the door, my big dog wants to jump on you and knock you down. And my cats, which are house cats, try to get through because they really want to explore the garage, but they found a way from the garage to the outside, and we live on kind of a main road, so I don't want them going out there, obviously. So we worked on that. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I just don't want white, plain white on the back of this, so I'm just spreading some ink on it. I'm not getting rid of all the white, but I'm just making it look kind of, you know, grungy and well loved and everything. Okay, just on the backs of all these pages. Yeah, so while my parents were here, you know, of course they, you know, sat with me and let me grieve some and everything, but it, you know, we had a lot that we had to do. They couldn't be here forever, and there was a lot that I couldn't do by myself, and I needed their help for and everything. So I didn't really get to grieve during that time, really. I mean, I did some. I cried a lot, obviously, but I didn't really get to just be, because there was so much to do. And in some ways, that's probably good. You know, it gave me the opportunity to have the shock wear off, because it was a real shock when he was killed in a crash. And yeah. So anyway, so the last, I don't know, when did they leave? They left September 19th, and today's like October, I don't know, 11th or something, I think. It's Friday, I think. Anyway, so yeah, so since they left, I've been kind of trying to let myself grieve a little bit more. So yeah, so I haven't done many videos. I think I did some, and I've kind of like worked on putting Bill's in my courtship story. We had recorded some videos together about how we met and different things. I'll try to remember to link that on here, because I went ahead and I had it on a different, well, we kind of had it parts of it on different ones of our channels, and so I put it all together on this channel. And I think it's kind of cool to watch. So yeah, so that's kind of been what I've been doing. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do, and I hadn't planned this, but I had seen this morning, and as I was putting this together, I thought, oh, that would be kind of cool. She just had a whole bunch of sheets of paper that were all different sizes and ragged like this, and she just had them, I think she had them glued, but I'm going to sew them. Sew them there so that they can, let's see here. Sew them onto that inside part so that it's almost like a little notepad. Like I said, I didn't plan this, guys. This is how I work. I just kind of like make things up as I go, and a lot of times those ideas come. Now this is going to stick out the side, but I think that's actually going to be kind of cool. If not, then I can always trim it. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so again, I'm going to zigzag it. I'm going to zigzag through all those layers. I'll probably go through a couple times just to be sure I catch everything. So I'm turning it around so I can sew through it again. And then we'll see how it looks. If I don't like the fact that those are hanging off there, I'll trim them. Okay. That's kind of cool. I really like that. I like the way that it sticks out on the sides. Okay, now this here is a little bit too long, so we're gonna, it sticks down below the bottom. So let's do that. Okay, and this. And do we have the same thing there? No, that's fine. Okay, so I like that. That's really cool. That makes it look kind of older, doesn't it? Okay, so this is our basic thing. So then we're going to do I want the needles up here or do I want them down here? I think I want them down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some needles and I'm going to thread them with some of this yarn. I don't think that this yarn, which is my favorite, I don't think that will fit in any of the needles. But we'll do some of this. This one is, I think this is merino. Not sure, but I think that's what it is. I wonder if it says inside of it. Nope, it doesn't. Okay, so I'm going to get a needle out and I'm going to thread it if I can. My eyesight is so bad. Probably should have threaded these ahead of time. Oh, here's a nice big one. Maybe I can do that other yarn on that. These are all kind of big. Okay, it's not letting me turn it. That's weird. Okay, well then we'll just take these 3 needles. Okay. Alright, so which one has the biggest hole? I might try some of this because this is my favorite yarn of Bill's. I used a lot of this on junk journals while he was alive and he was just thrilled by that. And yes, I put that in my mouth. Sorry. I'm not selling this junk journal, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so there's one. Alright, and then I'm going to use this yarn in another one. I mean, and you could use thread. That would be fine. It's just that, you know, I wanted this to be kind of in Bill's honor, so. Okay, now this is already wound with several ends together, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it, but I'm only going to use one of the ends. I think this is wool too. It actually might be cashmere. Come to think of it, it feels like cashmere. So. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is, where did I decide I'm going to put it? I'm going to put it down here. Okay, I'm not going to go through both layers. I want to just put it through the top layer, so I'm going to be really careful about that. Okay, and I'm just sticking it through the top layer. It's going through on the inside. I think I'll make it go through a couple times. There we go. Like that. Okay, see, so then I've got this thread here. Now I could do one of two things. I could let it hang out like this, which is what I want to do, but if you don't want to have it hanging out, you could always wind it around the needle. Okay, and then I think I'm going to use this one next. And I don't think I want to make them like exactly parallel to each other. You could do that, but I don't want to be that much of a perfectionist. So I'm going to, come on. Let me take this one out. Let's go back through. I think I went through the back. Yeah, I did. And that's why I'm having a hard time getting the other one through, because it's holding it together. There we go. Okay, so I do have a, whoops, it still did go through there. Oh well. Maybe I'll just let it go through both layers. I kind of wanted it to not go through both, but okay, so if you do this, you might want to like poke your holes ahead of time or something before you sew it together. I think that's probably what I should have done. So that's okay. I'm going to let it go ahead and go through the other side. Come on. There we go. Okay. So it's going through both sides, which is kind of cool. I mean, you can see that it's got needles, and you can see the thread or yarn hanging out here. Okay, and like I said, I'm not trying to be careful about making them go parallel to each other or anything. Not sure what time I started. If this video stops before I'm done, look below for the link to the next half. Okay, so I've got that like that. Okay, and then I think I want to also put a few buttons up here, because he gave me all of his button collection when he kind of was slowing down with his knitting, and those are really special. So I want to put a few of those on here. Let's see what's going to be appropriate. Maybe that another, well, I don't know. I'm not sure if I want it to like be subtle or really, really show up. There's that mother of pearl. There's this one here, but that has a shank, so that makes it kind of hard to use. That's kind of thick. Problem is that the really special ones are really thick. Okay, how about one of these would be cool. Okay, and then maybe a small brown one. Okay, so let's do those ones. I'm going to keep the buttons out because I want to put a button on the outside too. So I'm just going to glue these on, but then I'm going to glue some thread onto them. So I'm going to use my Crafter's Pick, the Ultimate Glue. I really, really love this glue. It works for everything. It dries clear, so if you have some sticking through buttonholes and stuff, it's not going to show at all. Okay, now this mother of pearl one, I went ahead with it because I can put it on this dress form, which is dark, and it'll still show up. So I'm going to do that. Okay, and then I think I'll use this one on the other side. This is a wooden button. And then this one, I believe, is like some kind of deer antler or something that's been sliced. I'm not 100% sure of that, but I think that's what it is. So those are all special. Okay, and then I'm going to, I have some messy thread here. So when I sell my fabric ribbon like this, I take the thread that I use for fraying it, and I just include it as messy thread. Okay, so I'm not going to take it from that because that one's to sell, but I have some in my drawer here, I think. Oh, maybe not. Okay, well, I have blue, so I can use some from a blue one. Oh no, that wouldn't look good on there. Okay, so I think what we're going to use instead, because I don't know where that messy thread is. That's kind of weird. Oh, is this it? No. Huh. Okay. I don't know where my messy thread is from that. Oh, I know, because I didn't fray mine. So let's pull some off. Let me just pull it off of here. This is mine right here that I saved to use. So I can pull some messy thread off of here. And what I do, sometimes I put it under the button, but this time I want to put it on top. So what I do is I just kind of wrap it around my fingers, and I don't, don't try to make it real neat or anything. And I don't want to have it be overpowering, so I'm not doing it a whole bunch of times. So I'm just doing it like that. And then I just take it and twist it a little bit. So it's kind of like a bow. Not quite, but kind of like a bow. And then I just kind of pull these little loose ends to the center, so it'll be more like a bow. And then I will just press it into some of the glue right there. Okay, so it's just messy. You don't want it to be, a real bow. And oftentimes what I'll do is I'll even take like a couple of strands or 2 or 3 strands like that, and they're already messy, and I just kind of twist them like this. The point is for them not to be real neat. Okay, you want them to be messy because it's messy thread. Okay, and then I'm going to press that into the glue that's popping out of that one. Actually doesn't have enough. Let's put just a little bit more on there. And like I said, this will dry clear. But I probably will dab it because I want to work on the outside while I'm still working on this video. Okay, so it's not really a bow, it just kind of has that shape of a bow, but not really a bow. Okay, and then I'm going to take some of this and do some on there too. Okay, I'm just kind of wadding it together. Okay, rolling it slightly so it makes it look slightly like a bow, but not really. Okay, I don't want it to look like I sat and spent a lot of time making little bows out of the thread. Okay,